Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games, episode 293. And well, I am here with you, Sean Garmer, your host, and of course, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
How are you, sir?
How about you?
Doing okay. So, getting used to going back to the office, not having a lot of time.
Yeah.
It was nice to be at the house, but hey, we got a raise, so that's always positive.
Yep.
Just I think it's like they knew something in the back of the head. Just when people were starting to look for other jobs, I was too, and then they just sit us in the room and they go, "Hey, y'all are getting like 2 more." I was like, "What? All right, okay."
Yeah. Guess I'll stay here for a while longer.
Yeah, I guess I'll here a little longer, and then if I could be supervisor, that's $3. So let's see how that goes. There's more money for video games, so that's a good thing. And of that, so we've been playing some games. Mark, you got into that Deathloop.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it a few weeks ago and it's on sale. Yeah, it's interesting. The sense of humor is still a little not great, but aside from that, it's really good.
Why do you say the sense of humor is not great?
Like the character is like a little it's not quite as bad as Borderlands, but it's extreme. They're not all like completely annoying, but some of them are a little, out there.
I mean, that kind of goes with the territory, doesn't it? That's sort of like what that game kind of is. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, Arcane has had much prior restraint in their like past games. They've had more, I wouldn't say bland, but like more subdued characters, let's say.
All right, and so like you're liking the bombast of these characters.
Yeah, like a few of them are okay, but like some of them are just, the guy who's like trying to like stage a party, but he's like a crappy DJ. Okay, I get the joke, but it's not that funny.
How is the shooting?
That's actually the really good thing. See, I didn't like their past games. Like, what was it?
Dishonored. Yes, you were not a big fan of Dishonored, and
so I didn't play Dishonored 2. So the nice thing about it has shooting. That's pretty good. The melee is pretty decent, also. I mean, the melee actually feels a lot like Dishonored. But you have magic in this game, the same as in Dishonored. And the way using it sucked in Dishonored was like you had a bar, and if you like exited the bar, it only refilled up like one section, like the quarter of the bar, like that's only refilled. And this sucks because you don't want, you're using like your I forget what it's called in Dishonored, but like your teleported Dishonored, and it's like you use it 3 times and then it's gone, or you can only use it like one more time and they have to wait. This game, like you can use the bar up and it refills like a few seconds, or it completely refills. There's no like energy potions or mana potions to pick up at all. It just automatically refills. So it's like, yeah, that's a better system. But the game is basically, yeah, like you can run. The game actually really reminds me of Hades. Like 4 environments, roguelike to an extent. You're picking up new clothes or new leads along the way to do different stuff on like the next run. So like you might kill a guy in one run, and you'll find in his like room like, oh, he has a chat with someone. So for the next time loop, it unlocks a different lead for you to follow, so you might be able to kill both of them at the same time, or kill the other guy and then unlock something else along the way.
Right. I mean, so like there is progression.
Oh yeah,
in the game.
I mean, there are 4 areas, and there are also 4 time periods. So you can, you might be able to go to like the dam on the morning, but go to like the main town in the afternoon. It'll be going to like the main town will be different in each, morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. It'll all be set up pretty differently, or the layout will be the same but different enemy placement, and even different buildings will be open or stuff like that. And then there is a sense of progression because like you don't really carry levels. It's not like a level-based game, but you carry gear with you. And after a while, you can start infusing the gear with this mineral or this energy or this element that makes it so you carry it over for the next loop, or you just kind of keep carrying it over and over. So that's like the way of progression. Like, you find a weapon you like and you can infuse it. So it's like, oh, instead of starting off like completely naked for the next run, it's like, oh, now I have this weapon. I can always just have that as well.
I mean, how do you have you had somebody join your game or anything like that?
No, I've been playing pretty much offline. I have killed her a few times though, which is fun because she's hard. But I mean, I'm playing the game I'm using the game pretty hard because I pretty much just like hack turrets and then just kind of keep throwing them in front of me, or keep throwing them ahead of me. So they mow down pretty much anything I don't want to, or they just do what I want.
Yeah.
See, it'd be nice to play the game with like Jens because that'd be kind of a cool cat and mouse for him, for us. But
right,
he would like lose himself to this game. So,
so you're thinking he would like it then if he.
Yeah, but I think it would like drive him crazy because he'd want to like perfect it, or he'd want to do the perfect run. And it's like, I mean, you can do that, but it takes like 50 or 100 loops to do that. So
right, a lot, yeah.
I haven't beat it. I think I actually find the game, it's not like super stressful, but it's just a little anxiety inducing. I mean, you don't really.
I bet, especially with her like popping up at any moment to. Take you out,
like, Yeah, one time I was like very deep in a mission. Like I was pretty much like, in like the last boss chamber or like the last room before the boss, and it's like, oh crap, she invaded. So now I have to like set up traps for her, wait for her to come to me so that I can kill her real quick, and then I can get to the boss.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I have 2 powers now. I have the you have 3 lives per loop also.
Okay.
So if you die, you can kind of quickly rewind back and like, try to get out of it or something. The main powers I'm using are the teleport, which is very fun. And also I have this ability that I basically throw out like an energy sphere and it links people together, like links enemies' health together. So if I hit 2 people with it and I kill one of them, the other one dies.
Oh, nice.
And it can work against multiple people. Like it's not just 2. Like I've gotten up to like 5 or 6. So yeah, you fire that off and like, everyone just drops around. It's like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're liking it at least, and that you're finding some positive things about it. So
yeah, I mean it would help to follow. I'm following a guide kind of, but like the game is very complex. About like the end goal is you're supposed to kill You're supposed to kill 8 people in like one loop, and that's like very clockwork like, or you have to like set up a bunch of stuff beforehand. So. Or you have to like set up like one thing, which sets up another thing, which sets up. Oh, now these 2 people are in this one area, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like it. I'll keep hammering away at it little by little.
Yeah, as long as you can get it down, that's what matters in all this. So, anything else that you have been?
Jens and I played more Diablo 2 finally. Because he's been busy. We vanquished Diablo, but we had the expansion pack to now go through. And we got really stuck. Like the last time we played, like we got completely overwhelmed. And it's like, well, once you die in that game and you respawn, you have to go get your body. And it's like that, okay, but if I can't get to my body, or if I keep dying on the way to my body, this presents a problem.
Right.
Like at one point I had like, 12 corpses in like this one area. And it's like, this is not fun.
12?
Yeah, he had like 10 or something, yeah. I mean, we
I guess
eventually
it was a harder part of the game then.
I mean, kind of, but I mean, we just got like swarmed by like 60 or 70 enemies, and it's like we're not equipped to deal with that at the at the moment, or
Right.
you can do like 10 or 12, but not 60. I mean, we eventually did it by just peeling off, 5 at a time, and it took like 20 minutes, but
right.
And yeah, I'm playing that. I'm finishing up that Death Lilies game.
Or Ender Lilies.
Yeah, Ender Lilies. Sorry. Yeah, still don't like it. I like parts of it, but I don't like the gameplay itself.
I mean, yeah, I remember you saying that you weren't a big fan of it originally. So.
The biggest problem is just like combat is boring, and like your enemies don't react to your attacks. So you'll hit someone and it'll kind of like not even like shrug it off, and it's like, well, this is not fun, or this is not good, like, because you are pretty fragile in the game, and that doesn't happen to you.
Right.
But yep. What about you?
Well, I've played a little bit of Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, I want to play that
since that came out on Game Pass and everything. Obviously out on PC as well. So
yeah,
I played it in the fidelity mode. It looks great. I've played like the intro part where they take you through 3 different areas of Mexico, like the jungle area, the city area, and then a kind of more like mountainous area. And I went through a few of the like tracks. I got second in one of them, and got to do the character creator. I don't know why, just because I'm lighter skin, they automatically made me an English guy. So I guess have to go look at the other voice if maybe I'm not, or if it changes at all, or I don't know. It's just funny having a Mexican, Mexican guy talking, and then all of a sudden it switches over to my character. And I'm like, wait, I'm not British. I didn't mean for that to happen. So I have to see if I can even fix that. But I mean, it's fun. I haven't played very much, Forza at all. So I've been enjoying it here and there. Take a little bit used to get to driving and everything again,
I watched the Giant Bomb quick look, and it was like the only thing different, which I don't know if you've even gotten to yet, was like there was a mission where you're in like a small area and you have to like scavenger hunt for some shit.
No, I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm
okay. That was like the one different looking thing, but other than that, it's like, yep, this is Forza 4, Horizon 4.
Yeah, I mean it's a great game, and I mean from what I'm enjoying it, so I will play more of it, and hopefully we'll keep liking what I play.
Have you raced the train yet?
I have not raced the train yet, but it's been fun just to like play a racing game and also not feel like, oh my God, I've got to be so. I mean, that's there for you if you want it. Like, they give you that option of really fine tuning the car to get the best out of it. I'm like, I don't want to touch that at all. I have nothing to do with.
You really don't have to, because it's like, oh, if you need a new car, if you need to like. If you want to tune a car for a specific race, just buy a new car, or get something else.
Right. I mean, like you immediately if you place high in the first race or whatever, you will get a new car like immediately. So
yeah,
I mean, there's ways for you to get cars, and also they have those car packs there if you want them as well. I thought it was really. I mean. I know people made fun of the game's out, but this is supposed to be day one Game Pass, but the game's out way before then too. I do think that it's nice that in the world we live where EA wants to charge like $100 for you to be able to play, early or whatever, or, some other companies will do the same. If you have Game Pass, you actually get a big discount to be able to play early, and that's a good positive to see. Wish more companies would be able to do that instead of charging you a buttload to get play a game like 3 or 4 days early. But they got to add new incentives, and I guess that's a way to get you to do that as well. I've been playing more Marvel's Guardians. I'm 3/4 of the way there. I'm on chapter 13 of 17, so I'm getting there. I had to do some. Anaya was off school today, so I had I spent some more time with her the night before, or I probably would have been able to finish it. But so far, man, that game is great, and I've talked about it a few shows now. If for some reason you're sitting on the fence about that game, you definitely need to go check that out, because it's I think it's way better than it has any right to be, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised once they get to play it if they haven't, to enjoy that really. And then the other couple of games that I've been playing are two indie titles. One is out for everything, and another one is only out on PC and Switch. Both of them kind of share a little bit of one genre, which is sort of interesting in a way. But then I'll start with Tunche first, which is the game made by the Peruvian team, and it has a lot of the Peruvian historical, like I guess more indigenous characters, and also the the character from the Hat in Time, but they call her the Hat Kid. They don't actually call her by if she has a name in the series. I don't know if she does or not. I have only seen those games in trailers and everything. I have not actually played Hat in Time to be able to tell you if that's her name or not. But I really like the art style, and it's a roguelike basically. With beat 'em up elements. So you have like the scoring stuff that's in beat 'em ups, right? And the style is sort of a beat 'em up. It's you do have skills that you can upgrade and stuff like that, but it has like the co-op play of a beat 'em up and that kind of thing. It has bosses, which are I fought the first boss and I thought it was fine until you got to like the part that's like obviously the mid section, and then all of a sudden it like ramps up and I'm like, oh crap, was not expecting that. I died. But you do go on runs, so like as long as your character keeps living, the typical roguelike stuff, you'll keep earning things, and there's different like Hades, there's different doors you can go into and decide on what like perk you're gonna get for getting that, and then there's like a store you can get and buy healing items or buy this or whatever. There's shards you can turn into these like stones that you can then upgrade. That gives you more perks. So, like, the thing that I've liked about it is that it's like sort of eases you in, and then as you progress, it gets more difficult. And I mean, I just like the whole, again, like the art style of it. The characters there's 5 different characters if you include the Hat Girl, and each one of them had their strengths. Like obviously one of them is built on speed and one of them is more built on strength. So I think it's a pretty good game so far. The other game is indie title that I really liked when we were going through those like indie things at E3 called The Legend of Tianding. It's based off of like Taiwan folklore, and then actually made by a Taiwanese team. So there's a lot of those influences there. There's not like a English script or anything for it, but they do have a little bit of a story based on him. He's kind of like a Robin Hood type character, and this is a basically straight beat 'em up. It's you're Tianding, and you have your moves that eventually you'll find in these little books that as you explore the area, and then you just go through and beat up everybody that's in your way. This one does have a little bit more of an exploring element to it. It's not necessarily this like just straight, okay, go across and go forward, and that's all you do. There are like switches you have to find and that kind of thing. It isn't just straight, okay, well, I'm going to go to the next screen and beat up the next thing and go to that and whatever. So I did appreciate that in a way. So, there's that.
Looks kind of like a slightly more anime version of like Guacamelee or something.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I love just the different moves you can learn, and the art style is good for this as well. They do have like a comic book kind of style way of telling the story. So there's that too. And yeah, man, I mean, I definitely think this is the one that's only on Steam and Switch. So if you don't have a Switch, you can always go play on your PC. But I think it's worth checking out too. I've really enjoyed what I've played of it so far. So I'm not far in either game that much, but I'll keep rolling through it. Hopefully for sure by next week I want to have all this stuff done, because then Pokemon Shining, the Diamond and Pearl remakes come out, and my time will go to that until Halo comes out. So
yep.
There's that for what I have been playing here. So there wasn't, I mean, if we wanted to, I could have tied in a bunch of stuff from the week of 4, but I'm not going to do that. And we do have a topic for this show since technically today, as we're releasing this, now both systems, the Xbox Series systems and the PlayStation 5, have both had their birthdays. So they've both been out for an entire year. We'll kind of go through and talk about, what we've liked about the system. And, if you feel like it's worth it now that you've been almost a year there. And of course, we will have a show on Monday. It's probably going to be a lot shorter, but there is at least that Xbox celebration we could talk about. And then, I keep seeing that Xbox 20th anniversary controller, and I'm just like, man, I want that so bad. But and then it's cool that once you connect it to your system, it actually has its own dynamic theme that it puts into your Xbox, which is kind of cool as well. So that's a neat thing that they included there. So let's talk about this whole thing with what's been going on kind of this week. The sort of keeping on the Xbox theme, Xbox did have a few of their games leaked that are coming from studios that we know. One of them, Mark is a fan of. One of them, Mark is not a fan of, considering the game he had to review from this company. So one of them is the Obsidian game, Not Avowed, which that was leaked as well. But this is another game that Obsidian is working on. Remember, they have, I think, 3 teams now. They have the teams working on Avowed. They have the team that's working on Outer Worlds 2, and then also the team that's working on this game now, which this one was kind of this one was outed by Jeff Grubb here. So this is the smaller team. It's supposed to come out in 2022, and it's a murder mystery RPG in which you're taking the role of an investigator in the 16th century Europe. There's going to be branching narrative, and it's not going to be very combat oriented, so much more narrative focused there. It's being led by the Fallout New Vegas and Post returning director Josh Sawyer, and he's also kind of was involved with Outer Worlds. So just hearing all that, Mark.
He knows his stuff. Yeah, that'll be pretty good, probably.
Yeah, I'm excited just hearing a narrative-focused murder mystery RPG. Love murder mystery, love RPG, love going back in time to things like that, and love narrative things. So I'm totally down with what all that is. Now, here's the other one, the one that Mark maybe not necessarily so pumped about. Well, considering who it's from. Of course, this is Compulsion Games. They made We Happy Few, which If you were listening at the time when Mark was having a review, We Happy Few. That's probably one of the games we gave.
Game of the
year. Yeah, Mark gave a lot.
That's actually one thing is like Deathloop does remind me of We Happy Few, but like done correctly, or you know, mostly correctly. Like you know,
We Happy Few could have been. I guess.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be a third-person action game set in a dark and fantastical world that plays homage to large and magical creatures. That's a lot there. That could be a lot of different things. And it's supposed to be a coming-of-age tale with a gothic vibe with inspirations from America's Deep South. We're trying to go Far Cry 5 here now. So I don't know, but
is it just going to be like a Deliverance third-person shooter?
I guess it could be that too, with like weird overtones, gothic overtones, I guess too. I don't know. I mean, this is like very generic, kind of giving you the gist of it, sort of thing. We won't really know until we see this. But supposedly Obsidian's code word for their game is called Pentiment. And the Compulsion Games one is called Project Midnight. We'll see. I mean, I'd assume that they're not going to call it Project Midnight. But, you know.
Xbox stuck around, so who knows, maybe.
I mean, I don't think they're going to do the triangle strategy thing of, we'll just take the word project off of it and call it triangle strategy. You know?
Remember Project Scorpio?
Yeah. Thankfully, they did not go with that name either. But, you know, so we know a little bit more about some Xbox Game Studios games that are being worked on, which is kind of cool. Good to see that is happening. And this has been like a number of leaks that Xbox has had on games that are being worked on. There's been a few others as well recently. Speaking of Xbox, Phil Spencer recently was in an interview talking about how he wanted more casual and more like social games being part of the Xbox portfolio. They are actually looking for acquisitions in the social and casual gaming space. I don't know if they're going to do the Activision thing of going and buying somebody like King or something like that. Or I don't know. I guess Zynga's around, but that would probably cost them quite a bit of money. It's weird thinking about Don Matrick went over there. Now Zynga actually makes a lot of money.
The company I could see them buying if they actually want to do is probably like Jackbox.
Yeah, they could do that. If they wanted to do that.
Maybe Jackbox wants to stay independent because I think they always have been. But I mean, they could. That's like the one company that does very good casual games or like social games.
Oh, for sure. But when we're talking about social games, I only played this about once or twice. So I don't have this like huge affinity for it, nor do I have this like great experience with it either, just being like, oh yeah, I know so much about this or whatever. But from the little bit of time that I did play this, 1 versus 100 was a fun game.
I played it, yeah.
And it would be really cool if, in fact, you know, Phil Spencer was serious about, oh, this is actually happening, you know, and like there have been rumors in the past a few times of Phil Spencer talking about it, like, oh, he would love to see it, you know, and maybe it would happen. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I think that game was too ahead of its time back in the day, and then it was also like ad supported, and no one cared about that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean that was in the early days.
And they also gave out like crappy prizes. It's like, oh, you won, you know, just like garbage Xbox Live Arcade games.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be cool if they brought it back. Like it'd be nice to see Sony get into that as well. I mean, why not have like online?
I mean, according to Jeff Grubb, it is coming back for sure. I mean, he's saying it's being made by the Altspace VR team, which I think they were just on some kind of conference call talking about how they were going to do more with that thing, and it wasn't just going to be those projects of things that have to not have to do with gaming. So,
I mean, the funny thing is also like that game is very Avatar supported, or you know, And
this is back when they were really wanting to use that avatar thing.
Yeah, they have it now, kind of, but no one cares. It's not like how it was. So
yeah, even when they like first brought it back or made it a big thing on the 360 where you could like edit your avatar and do all that, it's kind of just hidden there on the Xbox. You either use it or you don't. Kind of thing. And, they had other games too, that like that World of Keflings and other ones that were like, they kept making all these games for that.
Yeah. I think there's some Tony Hawk game that actually used your avatar, or but it's like they did away with that for like the Xbox One, and I think they tried to bring it back, but no one cared.
I think there definitely would be a lot of. I mean, social games seem to do well, and especially when you can like put this in the Game Pass, and get people to really try this out. This would be great for Microsoft to be able to do if they can bring this back. A sad thing we do have to talk about, which there's quite a lot here involving this, is delays once again. Even though it feels like in the US, at least, the pandemic is kind of slowly starting to get further and further away from being at the forefront the way it has been, especially with the advent of the possible like COVID pill that is, quickly coming our way.
Ivermectin.
Yeah. But we're still feeling the effects of this chip shortage and everything else, which even Sony has come out and said, expect that you're not going to see a lot of PS5s around in the holiday season. Nintendo has said the same thing. Even though Phil Spencer wants to alleviate some of that, he's going to have the same problem. And so Valve and the folks making the Playdate also have run into the same issue. And so both of these systems have been delayed into 2022. The Steam Deck now won't have their first pre-orders come out as of February 2022. And the Playdate has now also been delayed as well.
I'm waiting for the inevitable analog update saying like, "Oh, the Pocket got delayed." That'll be the trifecta.
Yeah, I mean, they did get a bunch of orders. I mean, they're saying the first 20,000 orders for the Playdate are going to come out in early 2022 instead of. I mean, they only really have like a month and a half left of 2021. So, and then they said the other orders of 20,000 to 50,000 could be out in the latter half of 2022. So, just be ready for that. And of course, the Steam Deck, we know what, how that was supposed to roll out. The lucky people that got the first few, they're going to supposedly get it in February 2022. Let's see how that goes, because that could get delayed again. So, there's that, at least. I mean, I wasn't getting either one of these things, but I know Randy was excited for the Playdate, and sure, it's a little bit disheartened on that. But at least the Steam Deck, you can still use your PC or laptop or other things that you play PC games on until that is able to come out. But it sucks that you do have to deal with delays. So games were not left off of this, by the way. So also getting delayed. Free Access's Marvel Midnight Suns, which is already coming out in 2022. It's not coming out even later in 2022, due to all this stuff. The Final Fantasy 14 expansion Endwalker is facing a 2-week delay, so now it comes out like the second week of December, on December 8th. What a way to like screw with everybody's end of the year decisions as far as game of the year and all that, because now that game's coming out.
That won't impact most sites. No one's gonna. That game will be big for the MMO crowd, but that's not most sites anymore. So.
Well, yeah, but I think most sites were wanting to. They were wanting to be able to include that.
I mean, you could already say it's gonna be the best MMO of the year, because it's not like WoW fucking cratered. So it's like, what else?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they wanted to be able to see if that would be included in like best game of the year, and will a lot of sites wait for that? I don't know. That's pretty far.
No and no.
Yeah.
Because I don't think MMO expansions should they're not new games; they're expansions.
Yeah, but you still count them for like that year. So, especially how very broad. We've made that category now. Like,
I mean, they're not standalone. Let's say that. Like,
no, they're not. But I mean, now people are starting to count like remakes and remasters, even as long as they come out that year. So it's kind of like blurring the lines now of all that stuff. It doesn't really seem to matter as much anymore as it used to be, and like having this rigid definition of, okay, only this can be game of the year, not that. So I will definitely don't be surprised. You're definitely going to see people put that into their game of the years or their top whatevers, or if they wait that long for sure. And then Platinum Games also delayed their Soul Cresta game, which is based off their old those shooter games from yesteryear with the planes shooting out. So there's a few delays there to have to go through, and sad again always that there are delays, but hey, maybe that'll make the games better in the long run. One thing we were not expecting, because as we talked about last week with Assassin's Creed, they're making that Assassin's Creed Infinity thing. Well, supposedly Far Cry was also heading in that direction. They were going to make a Far Cry type free to play thing, or well, apparently that was going to cost money too, but whatever. The whole point was this is supposed to be more of a, online social games of a service, whatever type direction for Far Cry. Well, now the executive director of Far Cry has left Ubisoft after working on Far Cry for 10 years. Dan Hay. What do you think here, Mark? You're the person that just reviewed and played Far Cry 6.
It's probably good because that franchise needs some new blood in it, or like needs some new ideas. So, I mean, yeah, Far Cry 6 or Far Cry 3 was like 10 years ago, I think, or around that at least. So yeah, he started off great, but like every iteration just kind of got more and more watered down. I don't know if it's his fault directly, obviously, but he obviously signed some paperwork, or some documents.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like you said, right? At least for you, Far Cry 6 is very underwhelming, and then Far Cry 5, we know how you felt about
bad.
That. It was bad.
That's worse.
So like since Far Cry 4, they've really been kind of missing the mark here, and it's very interesting that if you go and look at it, he was the most hands-on with Far Cry 5, and then he continues on with Far Cry 6, which are the two games, and then if you want to include New Dawn, 3 games that were not very well liked by people. So even though some are gonna point to saying, oh well, that's another executive that's gone from Ubisoft and everything, I think this one's not so bad. I think this one's actually, like you said, Mark, might actually be a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about not only is Assassin's Creed going in that direction, but now Far Cry going in that direction of like games of service and all that?
Well, as Square Enix has pointed out with Crystal Dynamics, might not be a great fit.
Well, Crystal Dynamics is that I think that's just a whole another bag of worms. Square Enix likes to blame Crystal Dynamics for everything.
Yeah,
I don't know how many times we talked about Tomb Raider and their affinity for blaming Tomb Raider when it didn't do well, so, or well, they think it didn't do well when it actually did. So, I mean, Avengers is another thing, and then to say that that's only on Crystal Dynamics is kind of shitty. I mean, you're just like throwing them to the wolves there. Like, none of that's on you. You're the one that decided to make it a games as a service. Like, shouldn't Square take some kind of blame for that in a way?
I mean, it's surprising that when did it come out?
What, Avengers?
No, I was going to say it's surprising that Square Enix didn't try to blame Final Fantasy XIV's initial problems on Crystal Dynamics.
Right? Like, oh, Realm Reborn was bad because of Crystal Dynamics as well.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
I don't think Far Cry should be. I mean, they are obviously trying to make every game as a service, but like,
right.
that's not a good plan. Or I mean, there's already pushback with games as it is. Or, people don't really like that model necessarily. And straight up, I don't need every game to last forever.
What's so weird is that I see this. I see what you're talking about, and I'm totally with you there as far as I don't need my game to last forever. I'm totally fine with understanding that this game ended and whatever. But man, every time I see things on Twitter, all I see is people saying, I just want my game to keep getting content. I just want my game to keep getting things. And
look at Valhalla is a good example. That's had an extended year of content, and it's that's not necessarily bad. I actually like Valhalla quite a bit, but it's don't you want something new? I mean, at a certain point,
it's getting another expansion again.
Yeah, at a certain point, don't you want a new environment or new characters or story? You can only do so much with that basic framework. And I think their games as a service, For Honor, The Division, kind of, or Rainbow Six, that works because it's mainly a competitive multiplayer experience. Far Cry is not that, and Assassin's Creed is not that. So I don't know what the fuck you do with this is a service game, but it's mainly initially a single player experience.
I mean, and the one time they did try to make Assassin's Creed a co-op experience, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I mean they had that multiplayer system before, Brotherhood, and I think a few of those had it. It wasn't terrible. It's actually kind of interesting, but it's this doesn't it didn't catch on, and it doesn't need to go forever, or
Yeah, it's just I feel like that's as much as we want to say that it doesn't work, or there are enough games out there that have gotten it right where you could say, I don't know if this is going to totally go away either. We're going to see, we've seen these big blockbusters and they keep coming out, but I keep seeing this. The more and more we get these free-to-play games and these games that come out and people just want to keep being in that world or whatever, we're going to keep getting these games as service things. And Ubisoft's just trying to catch that wave right now.
Well, imagine if Brotherhood was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was a game as a service. Okay, we wouldn't get the next 10 Assassin's Creed games.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, just feel the continuing stories of Ezio forever.
I mean, well, what they're trying to, if I remember right, at least with Assassin's Creed was, well, we're not going to just base it all in one place. We're going to have different stories.
Yeah, multiple characters and multiple settings and timeline, or time zone and stuff like that. But it's why wouldn't you just make a new game then?
I guess because they want to be able to keep things fresh constantly. So I don't know if they're going to go back and let you play as Ezio, or if it's all going to be new stuff or whatever. But I think it's okay, so we can have 4 different Assassin's Creed stories going on at the same time. And then each part of the year, one of them comes out, and you can keep churning that out, and it just constantly makes new content. And it keeps things fresh for the developers too, I guess.
I mean, I think the other problem is they don't finish. I mean, they don't finish a story. Those games already have, the pacing of those games is already glacial. So if they did that, it would be 4 times as worse. And it's dear God.
Yeah, I mean that is a one way to look at it, but I mean they have so much of this DLC right now that comes out for Valhalla. It really just would be more of an extension of that. It's you're just getting these DLC things just in smaller chunks, or whatever,
Straight up, I don't care about the past stories of Assassin's Creed necessarily. There is supposed to be a present day narrative that they just don't talk about much at all anymore.
Right.
So that's the issue. It's that guy already in the world of Assassin's Creed, that guy's already dead. He's been dead for 800 years.
That's true. They just that's there, and they acknowledge it whenever the heck they feel like it, and that's kind of
Well, I saw like the post about Far Cry, like the DLC. It's like the play as Voss thing. It's like, oh, you play as Voss in some like roguelite campaign, and it's like that sounds awful. Like, no, thank you.
I guess if you really wanted to play as Voss that badly,
Yeah,
you
well, it's
have
like ruining
that.
the character because that character was like one of the better ones. So it's like, oh, now you get to play as him. You get to experience his horrible childhood. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. So I mean, moving beyond that, I mean, this might actually turn into a good thing for Ubisoft, but I don't think this is going to make them change their direction much. This probably will just give them better ideas. And, now the brand new team is going to be led by Sandra Warren in Montreal, which that's good. You have a female lead, especially with everything going on with this company right now. They have workers once again trying to make demands and go against Ubisoft. So,
I mean, hell, Blizzard just lost their female lead or their co-female lead.
Well, I think she just decided to leave after all the turmoil. So, like, Mike Ibarra's leading the team by himself.
Yeah.
But hey, at least Nintendo's doing something cool here. So, there's been rumors going around that, now that Mario's gotten this big push and they're getting the movie and everything, that the next character in Nintendo's, repertoire of characters that they're going to really focus on is Donkey Kong. And there's been rumors, they'd have a new game and there's all of this, that they, merchandise and everything else. But now it's not just that. The next movie may be Donkey Kong related, especially that Seth Rogen is going to be involved in the Super Mario movie. So naturally, spin that off and make a Donkey Kong movie, and then you could have some of the Mario characters show up in the Donkey Kong movie as well. And they're also going to make a Donkey Kong section of the theme park, that's Super Nintendo World. And then that would be set to open in 2024. God, I can't believe we're talking about things like 3 years away at this point. But, yeah. I mean, Mark, what would you even do with the Donkey Kong movie?
I mean, just have K. Krool be the bad guy, and then, he kidnaps some Candy Kong or some female Donkey Kong or
Dixie
or just have it be like, oh, K. Krool steals all the bananas, so they have to go, find him.
Just that simple. It's fine. Just steal all the bananas in the world, and you go and get that.
Did you see that? I'm trying to find it, but did you see that like Nintendo said they're going to finally fix the online system?
Well, they said they were going to keep making improvements to both the regular Switch Online and the expansion.
Yeah, and
Switch
it's like,
Online. Yeah.
It's like, why the fuck haven't you been doing this for the past 4 years? People have been bitching about this.
Yeah, because somebody actually, I guess, brought it to their attention finally when they introduced the Switch Online expansion of just like, I guess we really do need to fix this because it's the games are not performing well. And there's still the rumors going around that they're going to add Game Boy games as well. So I think that was kind of a hint towards that we're going to try to improve this, and we're also going to add more consoles, games, that kind of thing.
Back to the movie thing. I mean, Donkey Kong is kind of important historically, but
right.
I don't really care about him now as a character. Or, I mean, obviously, the three big ones would be, Metroid, Link, or, Zelda, and then, I don't know, Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm totally down with you want to make a Donkey Kong section of the theme park. Yeah, because the theme park is there to honor that history of Nintendo and everything else. You're going to make another Donkey Kong game. Go ahead. He has a fan base of people that would like those games. I like the Donkey Kong games, whatever. I don't know about a movie, though, but, I guess if you want to make something simple, then sure.
It'd be a really cool, I wouldn't be a movie, but like a cool cartoon show if they were like got back into that type of stuff, would be Pikmin.
Yeah, I could see that.
If you could have like Captain Olimar, like, each Pikmin could be like, one distinct character, and just have him like trying to build a ship or do the usual stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely have characters and people, other like games there that can be made into movies. I think they even were talking about Donkey Kong as like a anime or some cartoon or something like that. Like, all right, I mean, y'all want to keep doing this. I think it gets to a point where not everything can be Mario, perhaps, but there was also that Mario Super Show that somehow made it work. So maybe they can make it work with Donkey Kong. And maybe that actually might be the better thing, is maybe that works as a cartoon more than necessarily a movie. But
like I've always said, bring back Captain N.
Maybe we'll get to that. Maybe they'll go through the gamut of characters and just be like, Captain N. That's what us bring him in for a cameo, and then people like it enough that he gets its own thing. But yeah, speaking of characters that are trying to make a comeback, or it feels like he makes a comeback and then it just goes nowhere. Sonic, I guess the supposed big 2022 game, the game that got a lot of the publicity, Sonic Frontiers, now has a little bit more information coming out about it. It's going to be the next mainline entity in the, with this. And the thing with this is, I just look at it and go, how on earth are we going to make Sonic like Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild? I mean, do you think this could really work, Mark?
It could. Technically, it could. I just don't have any faith that Sega to pull it off. Like, I think if Nintendo was going to make it, they could, but not Sega. And it's kind of baffling because there actually is a pretty good a pretty good open world like Sonic game for PC that like fans made, or it's just like a fan project. And you play it, and it's like, wow, this actually really works. It's like a really big environment that you can just kind of like run around in, and it has like enemies and rings and crap to pick up. And it's like, wow, this could, if they wanted to, this could be like a real good game. And then you look at like what Sega makes, and it's like, no, they couldn't make this.
I mean, I think it is definitely possible, if they really just looked at it and they need to figure out why they can't make these 3D Sonic games really work, and sorry.
For me, the two biggest problems with 3D, I mean, I honestly think there hasn't been a good 3D Sonic game ever. Like, people got snowed in by Sonic Adventure back in the day, but that was a con job. Like, the biggest problem with Sonic is, like, the camera can't keep up with the speed. And then, like, they make the levels so linear that, like, the second you go off and you die.
Yeah.
Every level, or practically every level, is, like, suspended in midair or, like, in the middle of, like, an ocean. Or, like, so it's like the second you go off, you drown or just fall to your death. And it's like, if you look at like Mario games, like there are a few like Mario 64 levels like that, but most of them are like you're on the ground, and they're pretty easy, or you can just do what you want.
Right.
Sonic has never been like that, at least not the 3D Sonic games. So that's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Sonic Adventure was just like this revelation for its time of coming out on Dreamcast, and
it was like a graphical showcase, like the whole whale
exactly
thing. But I was like, that's like the first level, and it's like, okay, what else you got? And then it's like, oh, play as fucking Big the Cat in this horrible fishing mini game. It's like, great, thanks. Or like racing, like every character, there were 6 characters in that game, and only like 2 of them worked well, and it was Sonic and like E102 Gamma. And it's, all these other ones suck. So why are you like forcing me to do this crap with Knuckles or like race Sonic, playing as Tails, like race Sonic to the end of the stage? It's like, how is this fun or like worthwhile at all?
They want you to to get embracing that. I mean, like, why not? You know, yeah. I think that they could do this. It's just like you said, it's so hard to have faith in them when so many times they have just absolutely
it's like
failed.
Fool me 9 times, shame on me. Fool me 10 or more times, shame on you. You know.
I do feel like if this doesn't hit it, you may have to just accept it that you cancel the Sonic Mania 2 or whatever.
Then you really got to pay those guys to make Sonic Mania 2.
But that might be what you have to go with, or I guess like what Colors is sort of a in between, right?
That's like 2 3D or I mean it's partially
like the 2.5D thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to either go one of those routes of doing the full 3D thing just may not work ever for Sonic as far as that goes. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting that Jump Force. I don't even know how it lasted as long as it did. Honestly, it's surprising to me that the Jump Force is still even being talked about.
It's not. I mean,
it's not. But it's like the fact that it was still receiving so much content. Like Bandai Namco really tried to make that thing work, made it try to be a thing, and it just didn't. It doesn't matter.
It didn't catch up. It didn't catch on with esports at all. I know that. Or like Evo, they didn't care. The game itself was not good, and it had like a insane story mode. And then it's
that was the problem, is that it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if they tried all these things with it or whatever.
Well, we added I forget the guy's name, Might Guy from My Hero Academia. It's like, okay, did he fix the battle system at all? Well, no, but we added this guy. No. It's like, well, it's slightly more important you fix the battle system before you start adding other characters.
I mean, and they even added like characters like Light that don't actually fight, they're just there, and it's just okay. We're just trying to throw everybody out there that we possibly can, and see if one of them see if we get people to buy this or buy the DLC or whatever, and it's just.
I mean, on paper, it sounds great. It's like, all the Shonen Jump. It's like Shonen Jump Smash Brothers. It's like, okay, cool. But 3D, like more of a brawl.
Well, but it's more of a fighting game, right? It's not necessarily a Smash Brothers.
Well, it's not fun. It doesn't have like the crazy shit that like Smash Brothers has. I mean, it's like an arena fighter essentially. But like, the game is shutting down like next year, and it's like, do you think if the game was either good or popular, it'd be shutting down?
No, right? Yeah. Like if it was actually good and people actually wanted to play it, and it was being played at Evo, and I mean, hell, the thing we always say is like Smash Bros. Melee, right? That thing still exists today. It still gets played at Evo and all these places. Nintendo has to constantly fight with people to be like, can we just forget about this game and just accept Smash Bros. Ultimate,
please,
and get over it and stop wanting this to happen? We don't want to keep having that. You guys, keep showing this game out or whatever. And it's like they've added, I think it's like almost 60 characters to this game.
Yeah,
and incredible. That in that time they keep adding all these characters and then nothing, There's 14 character packs.
It was baffling that like most of the characters played the same as well.
It's like, well, I mean, kind of how on earth do you think they would have released that many characters if they all didn't at some form play the same? Like,
Smash Brothers seems to be doing well.
Well, no, I'm saying okay, Smash Brothers. These are all unique characters that they get put in, and then of course it helps a lot. They have all these third-party characters that get added as well. But this is a cookie cutter way for them to just keep putting characters in.
Right.
And when the battle system itself was already flawed and not great as it is. And just one last, I don't feel bad for it at all. You know, when we both played it, we both didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it. I don't know anybody that really does.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone crying or going like, "Oh man!" I saw like someone on Twitter going like, "Oh, what about all the Jump Force like pros out there?" And I'm like, "What
really?
pros? Like
there are Jump Force pros? Okay.
The one guy in a room somewhere like alone? Like
yeah, no, people are not going too crazy about this.
I do remember also the game had like no English voice acting.
Well, no, I mean that's fine. Like that, a lot of Bandai Namco games don't have English voice acting. I mean, everything except Dragon Ball pretty much does not have English voice acting.
I think Naruto and like One Piece too.
Or like no, a lot of the One Piece ones don't. And I mean, I don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh game you played lately, but most of the Yu-Gi-Oh games don't even have voice acting period now because they're just like redoing the same story over and over with a new thing. I mean, like I think the My Hero might because they're I don't know if the Demon Slayer one that just came out did, but most of them don't when they're based on the anime because it's much easier, cheaper to produce without them having to do the English voice acting. I mean, if I remember right, like if it wasn't for people complaining in the Goku one, they wouldn't have had it for him either.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that complained that they wouldn't have English voice acting and they had to add him in. So that's one last thing just wanted to add. I think it's cool that as somebody that really likes Devolver Digital's games, I've talked a lot about enjoying Death's Door this year. Sony has invested a 5% stake in the company. They're now going to be on like the London stock exchange as well. So helps them be able to afford more and be able to do more with other games that they perhaps may have not been able to in the past. And they were also able to bring in some of the developers into the actual fold of Devolver Digital as well. So that's good on that front. So let's go with this.
It'll be all the more funny. It'll be all the more funny when Microsoft buys Devolver Digital.
That would be interesting if they did, just to have their own another indie label there. But let's discuss this, Mark. We have 1 year of the Xbox Series systems, 1 year of the PlayStation 5. Now, you only have a PlayStation 5, so it's difficult to have that compare and contrast like I can of having both the systems. I mean, how do you feel about your PS5, the games, and everything else? I don't had a year.
I don't have an Xbox, and I'm trying to look up a list of exclusive games, and that was
they don't have any other than
sad.
Forza.
Yeah. So I would say between the two, at least for the first year, obviously Sony's the bigger winner, or the bigger system. But
yeah. Definitely.
Well, I say that for two. Well, there's two exceptions. One is Forza Horizon 5. That's not going to be a system seller necessarily, but that will be that is their good game for this year.
Right.
Halo got delayed, right?
No, Halo is still coming out at the end December 8th.
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll see if that actually happens. But I mean, Horizon, good game. I'll not knock that game, especially since Sony doesn't have a counter to that. But, but I don't think, I think even up to next year, it'll still be Sony's game, or Sony will be leading the pack. But I think the third year, then it'll be a much better fight or a much bigger fight.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is, I look at it in the perspective of there's not a lot. If you want to compare and contrast the two, it really just comes down to what you like, right? And I think the one thing that Microsoft has is Game Pass that really helps them.
Yeah.
Here in that if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of money and you want to be able to kind of keep up with games, right? Or be able to play some of the latest things that come out, barring the stuff that's only on PlayStation, and you don't want to sit there and pay $60, $70 for every single game. A lot of people don't have that. Yes, game is expensive, but we just got to think about that. And then also think about you have the option of buying a Series S, which is $200 cheaper if you don't have the latest and greatest. And talking about TVs, so like Microsoft did a great job in providing you a very nice entry point, and then continuing to iterate on Game Pass, providing you different ways to play, whether it's on your tablet, your phone, your computer. Eventually, next year, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the move to TVs and the dongle thing, and all of that. I mean, now the cloud service itself may not always be the best, depending on the internet. And if you go outside, that's a whole different issue itself. But I think for what Game Pass delivers, that has really been the calling card for Microsoft. And it wasn't until Forza that you've really gotten to see the games, honestly, because if you look at some of the games that, like the Medium is kind of, and that really wasn't a Microsoft Studios game. It was a like AA studio making that game, and it just happened to be an Xbox exclusive for a little bit. It's now on PlayStation. Whatever, Psychonauts 2, technically it's a Microsoft studio, but it also came out on PlayStation. So, same thing with, Deathloop is technically exclusive right now to PlayStation. It will eventually come to Xbox. It's made by a now Microsoft-owned studio. So, like, there's that. But I think the thing, if you're looking at everything else that you examine games with, if you look at the list of games that came out only to PlayStation this year, maybe not even just made by a Sony studio, that's a pretty great list of games. I mean,
yeah, like Ratchet and Clank, Returnal,
Kena, Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah, it's a port, but that Ghost of Tsushima thing.
Yeah, the Ghost of the director's cut.
Yeah,
director's cut of Death Stranding.
Yeah. Lost Judgment.
Lost Judgment.
I mean, that was on PS4 also, but I mean, not
right,
on Xbox.
Right. Like it's still it's not on Xbox. So
Guilty Gear Strive, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade. Yeah. I mean, between the two, obviously, except for Forza, that's the one outlier. But Sony blew Microsoft out of the water. That said, though, like I said, next year will probably follow mostly the same pattern, because next year they got God of War 2 and Tokyo Ghostwire and all that other crap.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo.
But following that, then it becomes.
I mean, next year I think we are going to start seeing Xbox have some of those games come out.
Yeah,
maybe Avowed, maybe there's the thing is, like you said, there's a lot of these games that are a ways off. We have no idea when they're going to come out, like Hellblade 2, Outer Worlds 2, or not Outer Worlds. Yeah. So, like, there's a lot of these that we just a Fable. We have no idea. Like, it's a really big unknown right now for Xbox. Like, we know these games are coming and they look good. And so far, they've they had Forza come out. Everything we're seeing, they've released a gameplay of the campaign now for Halo. Like, that looks good as well. Like, everything we're seeing from those two games, and have played, looks great. I mean, the multiplayer for Halo was very fun from what I've been able to play in the betas and everything else. So that we know that they delivered on that. And if you want to extend it to like last year a little bit to December, like the High Busters DLC for Gears was really good too. But it's very few and far between. Like they've really had to everything has to be about these third parties. And things on both systems and some like indie exclusives, like until a little in a couple of weeks, in a week and a half, Death Store is going to show up on on PlayStation. It was exclusive to Xbox and PC, and that was a great game from this year. And they've had a lot of those like indies have really been driving everything this year, period. But Xbox has made some exclusive deals that way. For Game Pass and other things. Honestly, as far as, being worth it to you, I mean, you're the one that's played those PS5 exclusives. I really haven't. I mean, the last time I touched my PS5 was Scarlet Nexus. So everything else I played is it's not exclusive, and now it's on Game Pass, so it makes it even easier for you to play it on Xbox. But like my point is I haven't really played much of my PS5 because I've been more in the realm of stuff comes out of Game Pass, or I use my Xbox a lot more, so the games that I end up reviewing are on Xbox already. And then I've also had to review games on my Switch that's not in this conversation here because this has been out for many years now. But you that have played several of these, right? Do you feel like if we're going to go on that alone,
I think they've mostly held up their end of the bargain. Not every game is perfect, but I mean, I'd say like Returnal is a good system seller. If you like that type of like third-person shooter action, Ratchet and Clank's a great. I didn't like the story, but it's still a good game. Deathloop is fun if you like that kind of like puzzle first-person shooter stuff or combat.
Kena is really good.
That's one I haven't played. I mean, that's one you liked, but I just didn't play it. Or even like their old games like Spider-Man or Dark Souls. They're still good too.
Right. You can go play that Spider-Man Miles Morales and really enjoy that as well. Even though that's from last year, but
I would. I mean, it's within the past year.
I still would say that if you didn't get a PS5 or a Series X this year, I don't know that you're really missing out until I've played Forza, and I don't know what the cloud version is going to do it justice when you play that on an Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you have a PC, you'll be fine. But like if you're still on an Xbox One, maybe if you're on a One X, you'll be all right. But if you're still on an Xbox One because you haven't been able to get an Xbox Series X, I think this is that first time where you're really looking at things and going, "Oh man, I really want that. Like I want that, and I want the way it looks, and I want to play it that way." PlayStation has a few of those, but I don't think that Returnal's for everybody.
No. I mean, not everyone there's no one good game for everyone. I mean,
Ratchet is sort of there in that, like, it could appeal to mostly anyone, but then you also have the thing of like, are people going to really say, okay, I wanted to buy the whole system for Ratchet, a 10-hour game, and then they go, oh man, that's it. Can't really go back and play this anymore. What do I pick up next? I mean, there is other things to pick up, Demon's Souls and, the aforementioned Returnal. I think the thing that would have been huge for Sony that I think really would have put them over the top is had Horizon been able to come out this year. Yeah. And it didn't, so a large part, there was a large gaps in them having to rely on remakes or remasters or whatever,
I would say to that is, I mean, Horizon will be a big game, but like compared to Xbox. I mean, all they got is Forza right now, and Halo, hopefully. But
yeah, I mean, you got those two games, and they picked them to come out in the last 2 months of the year, and it makes it difficult at that point. To say, oh well, I think it just really comes down to what kind of a gamer you are.
Yeah.
I would still go to the route of, if you still haven't picked up these systems, I still think you're not really missing a ton here. I don't think you need to be going nuts, other than like, oh, FOMO, and I see all these people with the system, and I really want to play and all that. But I think you're still okay. I think you're still okay when you get into the holiday season, because you can still technically play Forza, you can still technically play Halo on your system. I think when you get into next year, that's when you're going to really start to see these really big exclusive games that, I mean, Horizon's not going to be, you can still technically play that on your PS4, but you're really going to start seeing these games really take advantage of the system. And it is going to make a difference, right? But I would say that, you are starting to get that, where I think Microsoft is making the inroads. I think this year for sure, this is Sony's year. When you're talking about sales, you're talking about exclusive games, when you're talking about, the system. I just think if you're going to look at the whole package of what Xbox keeps proving, maybe not in, because obviously it's subscription service, right? People are going to pick it up. They're going to find a way around it. They're going to do whatever. I feel like you keep winning with Game Pass, in that they keep adding more games. They keep adding things to it. Maybe the perks necessarily aren't the best, but like, I've been doing the whole turning in the things from playing games on Game Pass, and I've gotten a whole month free of Game Pass again, for just playing games on it. So
yeah,
like, they do find a way to reward you that way. I just think it really depends on what kind of a gamer you are, and if you have kids, do you want them to just be able to out of the box play something? It's there for you. If you really need these blockbuster games to be the thing that satiates your wanting to play games, you got that over there with Sony and the PlayStation 5. So are you going to be able to find these systems? I don't know. But I still think that, I mean, I don't know that I ever want to go back to playing games differently now that you've experienced it's crazy, Mark. Like, right? Like, once you experience what it's like to play games with like hardly any load times, I'm not going back to that stuff, right? Like, when I go turn on my Switch to play something, I go, oh God, I forgot that not all games load that fast. Have you experienced that, of like maybe going between your PC and PS5, or if you've had to go back and?
I mean, it depends on the PS5 game. Like, Spider-Man loaded up really quick, or like Ratchet & Clank is pretty good, but like Diablo 2 sucks. Like, straight up. Because like every time me and Jens play, like the last time we played like 3 weeks ago, so when I booted it up like 2 nights ago, I was like, oh, I got to download some 9 GB patch, and it's like, why didn't you do this beforehand? Or like, why aren't you keeping yourself up to date already?
I mean, is it really made for those systems though, or isn't it made more for the older gen?
No, believe me, they could do it. Like, it's not a matter of like PS5 exclusive. I mean, because it actually loads. Like, when you're in the game itself, it loads fine.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like, yeah, like why aren't you keeping this up to date on its own? But like Deathloop is pretty good about like loading, or Far Cry 6 had some load times, but compared to like, I mean, I was the big Steam guy, years ago, but that is such an awful piece of software nowadays that like my SNES is better than than Steam at this point. Like, it downloaded a patch to.
Oh god, it takes forever to download something.
Well, I downloaded a 350 megabyte patch for Everspace 2, and I said, okay, good on you for downloading that. I haven't played it in months, but sure. It downloaded it in like 2 minutes because I have good internet, and then it spent another half hour to install the goddamn patch. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you were like almost maxing out my computer installing this patch, and it's like, holy Christ. And like the friend system sucks on Steam now, and even just like, I do have too many games on Steam, but like just navigating like the user interface of the menus is awful. So, I would take my PS3 over Steam at this point.
Wow, that's a big statement there. From somebody that, like you said, has always been a big Steam guy.
It's just over bloated, and like it's almost like someone else bought Steam from Valve and is making it shittier and shittier. Like,
I mean, again, like as far as systems go, I think should they be out in the wild, if you can get one, cool, go get it. It will definitely be an experience for you that you're not going to want to deviate from. You're going to want to play games on those systems constantly and forget about your Xbox One or PS4, or even at times you're, like Mark said, Steam with the PC, depending on the game you're playing. But I still think that you don't need to go crazy and pay scalper prices for these systems. Keep waiting. We still don't have. Navy forces that first one. If you're not a racing game fan, then you're fine, right? Still, nothing.
That's Jens's thing. Is he has friends who wanted to play, the game with them, but he doesn't like racing games at all. So it falls on deaf ears.
Exactly. So it's like, I still think you're good. You're good until we get to sometime in 2022 when we get these games that are going to be like defining for this generation. Maybe when we get to God of War 2, which I know that technically still on PS4, is when we're going to hit you really need to have the PS5 for this.
Right.
Don't know when that's going to come for Xbox. I don't know that Halo is going to be it either. Halo will just be another really good Halo, and I will enjoy that. I love Halo. But we'll see what happens when it comes to Microsoft. That I'm happy for them to like really be making games and taking chances on games and doing some interesting things. I just think that we all win as gamers. But if we gotta give a winner, the PS5 wins. But I feel like Microsoft's not too far behind now, and that's good. That's good for the industry as a whole. That Sony's not just out there just demolishing them on all fronts.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's it for at least this part of the show. Again, we'll be back on Monday talking about that Xbox celebration and whatever else is going on. Please, if you like the show, hit subscribe. Whether you're listening on podcast form, we are available on all the different podcast places, or you can watch us on YouTube. We do this on video. I'll try to intersperse some game trailers and stuff in there. And, you can watch all of the WTO Network stuff. If you just subscribe to WTO Network, you get all of our shows. We have something for football, soccer, entertainment. They just reviewed the Eternals over there on the Radlitz folks. There's boxing, alternative commentaries to movies. There's pretty much almost anything, anime. There's podcasts for a lot of things. So definitely you want to subscribe to the network and get that. I'll be back tomorrow with a review of the US-Mexico game with Eric for the soccer show. And thank you again for joining us. I'm at WTM Sean on Twitter. Mark's at Humanity Play. You can follow us on there. Until next time, we'll see you later, everybody.